Hello, Helmut Flash here with another Flashpoint, and this time let's talk again about reinventing your business, which is a little bit the same than leaning into new technologies, whether this is called high tech or whatever it might be. New technologies come in a millions of ways, and in my time when I was young, the washing machine was high tech. Okay, so either way, reinventing your business, I believe, but I'm not sure. It was Bill Gates who many years ago said that just about every business needs to reinvent itself every 10 to 15 years, give or take, and 15 years can be 20 years, and it's all not so important, right? It's the basic principle which is important in order to survive. If they don't do it, they will die a slow death. Basically, it will be a horror without an end. If they do it and do it wrong, or in whichever way the whole thing then doesn't work out, it might not be totally their fault. But either way, then they will die a fast death, more or less. So yes, when you reinvent a company, very often you risk of failing. I'm not saying it has to be like that. It just kind of like looks like that or could be like that, goes into that direction because you're reinventing yourself. If you don't do it, you die slowly. And most of us, we call it kicking down the can down the road, would rather die a slow death, even though actually it's a freaking miserable life to die a slow death. You see it with patients who, this is mainly made for dentists, which we consult for 35 years, but also other businesses. But let's take dentists. You see people not taking care of their gum disease and other things. And then 2 years later, it gets worse. And a $2,000, $1,000 becomes $4,000, becomes this. And more importantly, which patients are not aware, and you doctors are not usually not too good at telling them, is like if they have a gum disease, not only will eventually their teeth fall out, which you could be putting in with implants and stuff like that, relatively easy these days, new technology in your business, you embraced it, you constantly embrace new technology. You just don't want to embrace it usually in other things around, which isn't your exact profession. And this imbalance is what brings a problem. But in any case, only because, so they're kicking the can down the road, but in the meantime, they have gum disease, they have infection in their mouth, infections which can go a half a foot up to the brain and gives them a stroke, a half a foot down to the heart and gives them a heart attack, and has problems with pregnancy and problems with the immune system and being constantly sick and all, and then they start taking all kinds of medicines when perhaps it could all have been avoided doing the correct thing right away. Well, the same is it in the business world, the same is it in the marriage world, the same is it in all the worlds, okay? People tend to kick the can down the road. Do we currently, this is now the very beginning of December 22, do we currently see that with politicians? Do we see that with politicians since 20-some years? With the national debts all over the world, with the printing money, with the blah, 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 with the whatever it may be. I leave that up for you to decide whether it is so or not. And of course, all this kicking down the can down the road will end badly. Sometimes we're dead before it happens, then that's maybe lucky or whatever. You need to reinvent the company, otherwise you will die. Because you die fast or you die slow. Sometimes I doubt that with the clients who, let's just say they sit in front of me on the telephone these days, whatever it may be, and they say, well, if I give you all this money, this is my last money. This is the money I calculated for a really rainy day, and this is the money I maybe calculated for my son's college or whatever it may be, okay? Well, first of all, dear doctor, you should notice that going to college for your son is probably about as bad as an idea as it is. In general, if he wants to become something where he simply needs a college to go on to the next step, such like a doctor training, such like a lawyer training, whatever it might be, then, well, I suppose yes. But if that's not the case, trust me, it's a bad idea. However, so for a rainy day, so it's like, okay, so the money you spent here, you could, if all shit hits the fan, or the money you have saved up, or the money's in your whatever stock, whatever it is, it saves you half a year, and you call that being a security? Oh my freaking God. No. So what difference would it make whether you die right away versus you die down the road anyway? That's just my opinion, however. I do know that lots of people not share. So let's talk about some involvement in the new technology, or let's talk about reinventing. Okay, so first of all, let's talk about your business, dentist, dental practice, and it would be the same for any other business whoever might want to listen to. But dentist is whom I want to call. Other ones we take them, but dentist is who I want to call. So is you first need to reinvent your business on how you do business in your own business to grow it. If you keep doing the things you have done and expect a different result, I know you know what Einstein said, and this is how it is. We cannot keep doing the same thing and expect different results. This time it will work. No, it won't. You can also literally not grow your business nicely, drastically, and then have so much business that you also have time to live for your private life, whatever your private life might be, by just doing more of what you're doing. Alone, that is a very non-workable idea. Well, non-workable is exaggerated because it does work to a degree, and it even must be part of to a degree. It just has an enormously ceiling. It has a ceiling. You cannot do only so much with the way you do. You must be reinventing it, redoing it. Now, what is these days in your business a reinventing mean? First of all, it means embracing technology. And you do it already. You probably have brand new technology or good technology in your dental chairs and whatever. You probably have a dental software or some other type of billing, blah, 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 which is relatively new, where you probably use about 5% of what you should use it. It's amazing how I ask people and say, well, give me all the patients who have been not here for 6 months because they're kind of due for a recall or things like that, whatever. And they can't do it. They can't print it. They can't give it on digital. It's like, yeah, it's there. Yeah, my program does everything, except it does do nothing because you do not know how to do it. And you don't even know the people who know how to do it. A very bad thing. So you have a certain thing. You need to embrace it without winning good, used old stuff. Basically, without using the things which stay healthy. In the medical field, if we only use new technology from the medicine, but do not go and sleep well and eat well and live a balanced life and do the thing which makes us happy and do a little bit of movement and exercise and free space, it will not be doing so well. Whatever gives us stress, if we don't look at like taking that away type of thing, we will not make it, okay? So you need to embrace new technology for marketing, for hiring people. For instance, let's talk about hiring people. Why hire people in the United States to make certain phone calls, which 95% of all your doctors not making, to existing patients in order to come back, so to say. And of course, the phone calls need to be backed with particular email, with WhatsApp messages, with all kinds of things, all new technology. And it needs to be relatively automated, but without a human touch with it, it won't work very well. However, doing that with people who cost $20, who need a desk, who need a room, who need a computer, who usually don't want to work on hours where you need them to work, because you do need them to work on evenings till 8, 9 o'clock. You do need them to work on Sunday mornings or some such type of time. You need them to work on Saturdays, because that's when your practice most likely will be closed. But that's where the patients who need to be called need to be called. And they need to be called in a certain quantity, in a certain frequency, and all kinds of things. Your existing receptionist in 35 years, maybe once or twice, probably not, and then that were not the existing receptionists, that those people had a crew doing it. Otherwise, it is never, ever done. And with that program alone, you could probably double your practice. Wouldn't matter how big it is now, if not triple it, with just that program alone. Forget about getting new people in, which of course we all should be done. It should all be done with the new technology, okay? And is that reinventing? To a degree. Is it gonna to possibly make you broke? Absolutely not. That's the nice thing. Some reinventions don't need to get broke, but if you don't do it, you surely will die a slow death. You will let lots of money on the table. And what about if that new technology, that reinventing, let's now go and take it a step further. We now talked about your own practice in all kinds of form. What about if that reinventing and that using new technology, using high tech, and using it in ways you never even thought of using it? This has nothing to do with how do I do better Facebook ads. Screw that. It's like, it doesn't matter. Facebook tells us how and what to do. There's 2 or 3 ways. That's it. Done. Okay? It's the simplest shit in the world. Really. Okay? But there's so much around it. So what about if this whole package of how to do business, can give you almost like a cook, I make that example often, can use spices or particular ingredients to create dishes and to create things which are like, oh my God, never thought about it. And this is so incredible. This is what it is all about. Learning how to use the tool. You've probably noticed in dentistry, if you have a guy who is not too good of a dentist, maybe because he's still young, maybe because he's just not good, you can give him the most incredible new high-tech tools and his dentistry will become not better. Yes or no? It's absolutely yes, it will not become better. So if you learn how to use this new technology, and if then you could put that, because that's part of the reinventing, use in different businesses, use it worldwide without taking time away from your dentist, because you don't want that. If you take time away from physical dentistry, being in the office, you want it to be completely free to do other things. You want it not to be having another being chained to the work type of job. There has never been a time where not being chained to the work of money making has been as possible as before. Never, ever, never, ever, 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 ever. And of course, this will last for an awful long time. This will last for probably ever. But whatever it is, it will last our lifetime. Okay, maybe my lifetime. But here's the thing. If you just imagine, that's all you need to do at this moment, just imagine if that actually would be possible. If you could use a reinventing of your practice, which then is the building block with extremely little change, extremely little new investment, extremely little new time and effort, always some of it. Things in the world don't run without putting more new and continued effort in it, but very little in compared to building it in the first place. It's like building a car. Once a car is built, whether you put 2 people in it, 3 people in it, whether you take a long trip or short trip, it's pretty much the same, right? The car is built, and use that to create secondary incomes, which are completely detached from you, completely nothing to do with you being a doctor. You don't need to be bothering anybody to buy vitamins or to buy this or to do this type of thing, like this extra income centers, which has been promoted the last 15, 20 years, very heavy in practices. I'm not saying it's a bad thing. It's just all of it not for everybody. And it is usually very limited. It's to the people which come to you. Who wants to push them all the level? I mean, I take vitamins and certain things from a fair amount of 2, 3, or 4, maybe, I don't know, multi-level companies. But that doesn't mean I want to sell it, okay, as such. Because, and if I would sell it, I surely wouldn't ask my next friends and my next people to do it, because it's all limited. You only have so many friends. Doesn't matter how lovable of a guy you are. And have you noticed, most of your friends don't want to do what you ask them to do when it comes to new ideas and businesses. So you need to reinvent how business actually is done out there. And it was never so easy. And the beauty about this is what I think is a beauty. Start with your own business, because it needs reinventing. It needs and wants more money, because your own business is your pride, where you put your energy. This is what you very, very most likely love. This is where you want to be excelling in it. This is where you want to be proud of it to be successful. Not only for the money you make, but just like we like to be proud. Our spouses like to be proud of us. Let's start with that business, and then almost with the flick of a switch, quite that easy, but like almost like that, you can go and can turn that into other businesses worldwide. That's why they call the World Wide Web the WWW, the World Wide Web. It's not actually made for creating business in 30 to 40 miles around you. It works. It works wonderfully. It can be used. If you don't forget 5,000 years old marketing principle, but it's really made to do worldwide. Okay? Give us a call. You will love it. You will love it, and maybe still not sign up with us, which would be a shame for more or less both of us. But it's a shame we can probably both and maybe both live with us. And keep in mind, we've been here for a long time. We'll be here another long time. So if we still get, then you come to your senses, so to say, a half a year or two later, we'll probably still be here. However, even if you do not sign up with us, which would be a shame, because it would be a big loss, money and happiness and free time left on the table for you. But you will like it enough that it will help you in some ways anyway, that it will give you a slightly new viewpoint and a new outlook. Have you noticed whenever you get a new outlook on whether it's world geography, whether it's what hotels cost in Bahama, whatever it might be, if you something which slightly interests you, you're slightly part of it, if you get a new outlook, it is nice to have a common basic new knowledge. And because of it, other things will happen. That effect, I don't know what they call that effect. Like if you have a Kirby cleaner, all of a sudden you notice that 20 of your neighbors have a Kirby cleaner. And before you didn't even know Kirby cleaners exist. And I say that because it happened to me in 1981 when I bought, or 82, actually 83, when I bought my first Kirby cleaner or my first vacuum cleaner, period, because it's the first time I owned the house. And so this kind of like thing happens all the time. And all of a sudden afterwards, you will realize, and you will then, because of it, be able to put something greater more. So you'll like and love this 1 hour conversation. Anyway, insist that it is with me when you talk to our people to do it, because before you go on the program, you would have to talk to me anyway. We do not take on clients, even if they have been talking to other people before and everything got ironed out and you're ready to come on the program. You would have to have a conversation with me anyway in order to go on. You see, we really work and guarantee that we work with you until we achieve a certain result for the same price. Basically, like you do with a root canal. The root canal costs X amount of money, and whether you have 2 visits or 3 visits, and every so often only 1 visit, whatever it may be, and sometimes you may have 4 visits for whatever reason, complicated, you charge the same money, and so do we, okay? And thus, we want to make sure that, things are working, and I think you would probably appreciate that. So you might as well right away talk to me. It might then take a little bit longer till you be able to talk to me, a week or 2 till I get to you, but it will happen and you will love it. And yes, of course, the goal is to get you on board, because a person who has come to see, if he doesn't sit in a dental chair, he'll not get better. It's that simple, and the same is with you. And yes, you have something to sell which helps people, doctor, and so does a car mechanic, and so does anybody else, and so do I. Okay, so do I have a vested interest? No more, no less than you have a vested interest in your clients, in your patients, doing the service. It's a win-win situation. Bye-bye.